History's most dangerous katana, the bone eater that refused to die, Honebami Toshiro, June 4th, 1615. Flames rage across the battlements of Osaka Castle. Timbers crack, men scream. 200,000 Tokugawa soldiers pour through its shattered walls. Japan's mightiest fortress, the symbol of Toyotomi power, collapses into smoke and flame. By morning, an entire dynasty will be ash. The moats are choked with debris and bodies. Beneath those dark, swirling waters, a blade that refuses to die. Weeks later, a farmer scavenging along the riverbank sees a glint of silver just out of reach. He discovers a sword half buried in the mud, caked in ash, damaged but intact. It's Honebami Toshiro, a blade so sharp that, according to legend, a practice swing killed a man. Carried into this siege by a doomed warrior, lost in the chaos, recovered from the ruins, it's known as the Bone Eater. This blade would outlast its lord, the Siege of Osaka, the dynasty, and the Sengoku period. Most deadly swords are remembered for what they destroyed. This one is remembered for what it survived. The Bone Eater's origin. Honebami means bone gnawing. The origin of that name is almost certainly a myth, but it's a harrowing one. The story goes, a man was playing with the sword recklessly, getting a feel for its weight. A mock swing passed his training partner's guard and connected accidentally. Though he had no intent to harm, the blade cut through the man anyway, not just flesh, but bone. The wound was too great. His friend didn't survive. Who were they? When did it happen? The records don't say. What they do say is that this wasn't the only incident. There were many strange accidents with this blade. Centuries after its forging, the Jesuit missionary João Rodrigues visited Japan. Toyotomi Hideyoshi showed him the sword personally. Rodrigues recorded Hideyoshi's boast. It could slice through bone like a radish with a light swing. Could the blade really kill with a practice swing? Probably not. But a legendary sword's reputation is built on belief, and for 800 years, everyone who held this blade believed it could cut through anything. Originally forged as a naginata, a polearm favored by warrior monks, of the Awataguchi school in the Kamakura period, later reshaped into a katana. For 300 years it passed through the hands of shoguns and warlords. The Ashikaga treasured it. Otomo Sorin paid a fortune to acquire it. By 1589, the blade passed from Sorin, the ruler of Kyushu, to Hideyoshi. When he died, it was handed down to his son Hideyori. Hideyori, in turn, gave it to Kimura Shigenari, his finest warrior. In 1615, Kimura carried the Bone Eater into battle, cutting down his enemies. It slipped from his grasp into dark waters, lost when he fell at the Siege of Osaka. The Siege of Osaka. After Sekigahara in 1600, Tokugawa Ieyasu's hold on Japan was almost complete. Only one obstacle remained. Hideyori, Osaka Castle, the last redoubt of the Toyotomi, the legitimate heir. Over the years, Osaka attracted every ronin who hated the Tokugawa. In 1614, Ieyasu decided the Toyotomi must be eliminated, not a skirmish, a war of annihilation. December 1614, 200,000 Tokugawa troops surrounded the castle. 55,000 defenders manned the battlements. Barrage after barrage of artillery failed. Finally, Ieyasu turned to psychological warfare, bombarding Hideyori's mother's quarters. At last, a truce was negotiated. The Tokugawa agreed to fill only the outer moats. When they secretly filled the inner moats too, Hideyori realized the betrayal. In April of 1615, the Toyotomi chose to fight in the open. June 2nd, the Battle of Wakai. Kimura Shigenari led Toyotomi forces against Ii Naotaka, one of the Tokugawa's most feared commanders, outnumbered, outflanked. When Ii's left wing broke through, Kimura refused to retreat. He died sword in hand. June 4th, Osaka Castle breached and engulfed. Hideyori and his mother committed seppuku. The Toyotomi destroyed. In the chaos, the Bone Eater vanished. The first resurrection. Weeks later, a farmer scavenging along the banks of the Moat found the sword buried in the mud. Mountings damaged, but intact. Honebami Toshiro. The farmer brought it to Honami Koshitsu, a master appraiser. Honami recognized it immediately as a masterwork blade, thought to have been lost forever in the flames. Word reached Tokugawa Ieyasu himself, and he ordered the sword of his most dangerous enemy be brought to him personally for examination. At 73 years old, he found the reforged naginata too heavy to wield. He had it sent to his son, Shogun Hidetada, instead. Hidetada inspected the blade and purchased it immediately for an incredible sum, 1,000 silver coins, months of samurai salaries for a tarnished blade pulled from the mud. Why pay a fortune for a damaged sword? Because the Tokugawa understood something. This blade was something exceptional. It was reforged from a naginata. It refused to die with the Toyotomi surviving the siege that brought an end to their reign. It was proof the shogun could carry at his hip, a living symbol of a dynasty defeated, a piece of history written in steel. But the blade's trials were far from finished. The second resurrection, March 2nd, 1657. The Great Fire of Meireki, one of the deadliest in human history. Over 100,000 people lost their lives as much of Edo was engulfed in flames. Again, Honebami Toshiro rose from the ruins. The fearsome blaze had destroyed the mountings and warped the blade itself. Echizen Yasutsugu, a master swordsmith of the era, retempered it. The Bone Eater had gone from naginata to katana and now was reborn a second time, restored to its original quality and deadly edge. For 272 years more, the Tokugawa kept it, a trophy of their greatest victory, until at last Meiji Restoration ended the shogunate. In 1887, in a striking show of respect for their ancient enemy, they gave the Bone Eater to Toyokuni Shrine in Kyoto, where Hideyoshi himself is enshrined. The blade that outlasted the Toyotomi would now guard the shrine of their greatest leader, forever. Today, Honebami Toshiro is an important cultural property, housed at Toyokuni Shrine, displayed only during rare exhibitions. Visitors travel from across Japan to see it, not because of what it cut down, because of what it survived and who it protected. Most dangerous weapons destroy. This one endured. Sieges, fires, centuries. It refused to die with the Toyotomi. It refused to burn in Osaka. It refused to break in Edo. That's a different kind of dangerous. Honebami Toshiro proved that true craftsmanship survives catastrophe, pulled from a moat, warped by fire, retempered, preserved for 400 years more. Its danger wasn't just what it could cut, it was its refusal to break. At Dream of Japan, we understand the best tools are built to last, not for a moment, for a lifetime, because the blades that matter are the ones that still serve when others fail. This has been history's most dangerous katana, Episode 4. Next time, with a blow that carved scars into steel and skin, one samurai cut the thunder god in half and survived. Paralyzed across half his body, he fought 140 battles with a single weapon, its name Raikiri, the Thunder Cutter. Like, subscribe, and join the newsletter for more real samurai history and epic sword content.